So the TenZ Mouse has officially been released and it was available for pre-order with the worst launch ever made, as the only thing that was available was basically the specs, and that's just not enough for you guys to make a buying decision. But luckily that has now been fixed, and TenZ made quite a lengthy statement right here, basically an apology and trying to explain the situation. They also released some pictures about the shape right here, and from this we can actually move on to talk about the shape a little bit. So I've seen some people mention that this is going to be a G Pro X Superlight clone, but I do not really see that happening. I mean, this is a TenZ secret mouse, so basically this is the mouse that TenZ would like to use. That's something that TenZ would find perfect as possible. And we all know that TenZ has been using, for example, the Zowie S2, the Lamsu Atlantis, the LethalGamingGear XM1, the Lamsu Atlantis Mini, and the Final Mice shapes, for example, the Starlight 12 small or medium, I'm not quite sure which one. So it's a pretty safe bet that his own mouse will be something in between of these, but we will see. This is still of course a work in progress, so this is subject to change. I think the shape is not going to be an issue at all. I suspect that when you have these mice, sort of the Lamsu Atlantis, the XM1, the Starlights and such, the Zowie S2s that he likes, it's pretty easy to decide that it's already going to be a fairly decent shape because of that, so unless he really does something weird with the design phase. But I don't really suspect that, I don't really see that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there for validating the shape with Sogul. I'm not actually sure what's my future going to be in this project. But I want to mention that I got paid for testing the technology, for validating it. But I'm in no other way involved with the brand itself or TenZ. So basically I was there to consult with the technology, give them basically an idea of what kind of specs people want from a modern mouse these days. That's basically as perfect as it can be. And from this I want to mention one thing, and it's the fact that people were mentioning about that this is just a cash grab by TenZ and Prodigy Agency. But from my point of view it definitely is not, as we have been in talks with Prodigy Agency for over a year or something at this point. And they mentioned to me that they are making a mouse in the future, and they mentioned that they want to make it as good as possible. They want to make it the best, actually, that's what they said. So they told me that if it does not perform as good as a Razer 4K mouse, then I need to tell them and they need to look for another option. I tried to tell them that it's pretty much impossible for you to create something that's so good, but they did not really like that answer, and it took us quite a long time to explain to them that yeah, this is impossible and there are many mice that are good enough, that are pretty much can be considered the best. Or near the best, as good as it can be. The initial mice that we tested were not quite up to par, but we contacted Prodigy Agency and told them that. So they contacted the solution provider and improved their solution, and this iteration continued for quite a while. And yeah, suddenly the mouse was actually very good, so I don't see it as a cash grab, because they really wanted it to be perfect. And they have been talking all the time about the quality being perfect, the design being perfect, so they actually want to create a perfect mouse, although, yeah, in my opinion it's never possible. Keep in mind that even when they are ambitious and their specs and performance are top notch, and even if the shape is top tier, the end result might still not be up to par, especially as it is so expensive. But yeah, so that's basically most of the information that I have that I can say. I made a tweet about having tested the mouse and what I did with them, but it wasn't quite understood that well. Lemonade, for example, here thinks that I have tried the shape and the shape does exist, but yeah, I wasn't provided the TenZ mouse, I was provided another one with basically the same tech. I guess that's pretty much it for this one. I'm pretty excited to see what the mouse will be. But I would never recommend for you guys to buy a mouse that you haven't seen. I personally do not find shape to be that important anymore, when basically all the mice that come out at this point are clones to one another in one way or another. So they are similar enough for me to get adapted to them. And most of the, or pretty much none of the mice that are released have that bad of a shape that I could not get used to or could not use. So there are other factors that I consider more important these days. Like for example, click feel is one of the more important factors for me at the moment, and actually even coding, which makes the mouse gonna feel more premium if it's good. So yeah, maybe that's it for this one, and see you guys in the next one.